Hello everybody, happy Monday. For those who've just joined the group, welcome. I know there's been a few people that have joined recently into Exhausted to Empower, my Facebook group for women and mums that are feeling exhausted. So I haven't been doing my lives recently, but I think I'm going to start doing them in September. I'm going to let all the mums relax in the holidays and then get a time that works for everybody. And I know everybody's not a mum in this group and that some people are just exhausted. I mean, we've all got a lot to do and we've all got a lot on our plates. So this is just a little video to say hello to everybody and just to talk a little bit about mum burnout. So sometimes people say to me, like, how do I know if I'm burnt out? And one of the real good reasons that you know if you're burnt out is that you're sleeping, you could be sleeping well and you're still waking up tired. So you're thinking to yourself, well, I've had a really good night's sleep. Why am I so tired? Or you could be waking up in the night and you've got 101 things still on your mind and you're carrying a big heavy load. And that's what us women do, you know, we take it all upon our shoulders and then we get overwhelmed, we get stressed, tired and burnt out. So mum burnout, job burnout, family burnout, wife burnout, whatever you're doing is a sign that you're doing too much, your body's exhausted, could be emotionally, physically, and it's basically time for change. So another couple of things that you can see that you're burning out is when you start to feel empty inside. You're snapping at your loved ones. I've done this so often. I kind of go from 0 to 100 in seconds. Like, it's when I or anybody, I always try and think of my situations when I'm doing these so that like it's real and raw. So when you're feeling like you're on edge and you can't cope anymore and the silliest little things set you off. So I always say like breadcrumbs on the side, losing my shit over that, because that's happened to me where I've come down, I've cleaned the kitchen, gone away, come back, cooked dinner, clean the kitchen again, and then there's breadcrumbs on the side and it's like, I don't want to clean this kitchen 3 times. So I start losing my shit. And I've gone from 0 to 100 in seconds. And this is when I know, when I'm snapping, I can't deal with my emotions in a healthy way. This is when I know that I am overwhelmed, stressed or burnt out because I'm not managing myself in a healthy way. And that's not anybody else's fault. It's not my partner's fault. It's not my child's fault. It's my fault because I'm doing too much. And in society, we kind of learn to take on a lot, do a lot, and not really ask for help. And it's really powerful to ask someone for help. You know, I never used to be like, I'm a mum and, you know, I have to do it all. But it's not true. Things are changing now. And the more we speak to people about it, the more we're talking about how we're feeling, you know, the more relatable it is. Because if you're just sat at home saying to yourself, you know, I can't do it, I'm struggling, you know, why is it just me? We are going to feel alone. We are going to feel like, you know, we're not worthy and we're not going to feel like a good mum. But when we talk to other people, we realise that it's not just us. And also we need to realise that it's not healthy to be exhausted all the time. It's not healthy to be snapping. It's not healthy to be pushing ourselves to the limit. So mum burnout is when we're totally and utterly emotionally and physically drained. We're basically not taking care of our health. And what happens then is we get poorly more often. I've done it so many times. And to be honest, I used to be ill all the time. People used to think that, why are you ill again? Oh, you're always ill. But now that I've changed my mindset and I do adopt the You First method and I do so much for myself, I honour my body's needs. I don't get ill that often anymore. It's really weird, like a couple times a year, if that. So I must have been just totally pushing my body just to the limit so much. And we tend to adopt the mindset, oh, I haven't got time to do this, I haven't got, to look after my own needs. But it is essential, because you will burn out if you haven't already. And I've spent my whole life burning out, giving to others. I'm now realised the power of putting yourself first. And when you start doing it, if you're not already, you will realise that too. Being exhausted it's not just about us having too much to do. It's about us not breathing, not being present, not actually pausing and reconnecting with ourselves. So we can't just be in do mode all the time. And I know society brings us up to be in that mode. You're at school, you've got to do your work. You're at work, you've got to, work. And they push us to the limit. But we have to look after ourselves, and we have to think about what our body needs, because nobody else is going to do that for us. So if you feel like you're sleeping all the time and you're still tired, you feel like you're snapping, you're easily irritable, your emotional side's affected, perhaps your legs are hurting, your body's physically telling you it's too much, it's time to pause and reflect and think to yourself, what can I do for myself? And I have people say to me, like, I'm eating healthy, I'm drinking water, why am I still so tired? And it's not just about that. Like, if you have all these things on your to-do list, and you also have like all these things going around in your mind, that is a lot. It's the physical things you're doing, and it's the invisible things that are going on in your mind. So if you could just put your hand on your heart and just pause for a minute and do some breathing. What I recommend to my clients is you breathe in for 3. So big breath like this, hold for 2, and then really blow out every single piece of breath you've got in your body. So think about getting every bit of air out, and you breathe out for 4. And it's just a simple exercise, and you could actually put the timer on your phone for 2 minutes. So you breathe in for 3, really, so your whole body feels it. You hold for 2, and then you breathe out for 4. So you're breathing out like this. And I always put my hand like that, and I go down and I think about every little bit of air getting out my body. And when you do that, when you're breathing out with that force, I'm breathing in with that force, you can't think at the same time. So it's getting you out your head, and it's letting you just be present for a moment. And the more you do things like that for yourself, the more you'll realise that you can connect to your body and get out your head. And that's why we get overwhelmed, tired, worn out, burnt out, because we're in our heads all the time. We never stop. So it's about becoming reconnected with your body. And then when you are reconnected with your body will tell you what it needs. Like if you start having a little bit of anxiety in your tummy, it's a warning sign. What is it telling you? Is, are you in a situation that is not comfortable for you, or, whatever it might be. I know I've had it in the past when I'm at work and I'll get a little bit of anxiety, but I just keep pushing through till my anxiety, weeks on end, gets worse and worse and worse, and then I'm off work because I've had an injury. So it's really important, if you're worn out, to start reconnecting to your own needs. And you can drink water, but it doesn't mean, and you can get enough sleep, but if your body's burnt out, you need to reconnect with yourself. So when you're doing that exercise of the breathing, that's just one thing you can do. When you're breathing out, say the words peace in your head. So when you're breathing out, you say peace, and it represents letting go of the stress, overwhelm, and the anxiety. And if you think that in your head at the same time, it's really helpful. So there's a million and different things that help us to reconnect with our body, and we're all different. I know I'm dyslexic and I get overwhelmed if I'm on the laptop too much. Like literally, it could be an hour some days. And I have to just switch off, and I go outside and I get a bit of fresh air, and it's only for 5 minutes. That's all you need. And then once it's released, I'll come back in. There's things like that we can do that work with ourselves. Sometimes we think, oh, I need to change the world to be able to, repair my body, but it's just recognizing what it needs. So if you wake up and you're tired, and you're really tired and you can feel it in your bones, and you do the housework, it's like driving the car with no petrol. It's gonna burn out, isn't it? It's gonna crash, it's gonna break down, and then you need to put more petrol in the car. Well, this is what we do to ourselves. So start listening to your energy. If you know that you've got more energy at night, clean the house at night. Just start considering your own needs. And when you start considering your own needs, prioritizing your own needs, it gets easier. Because at first you might feel a little bit guilty. I'm mum, I've got to do everything. But it actually is so powerful when you turn around and say, for instance, to your partner, I'm tired tonight, can you cook dinner tonight? And at first it might be all icky, but when you start doing it and you actually get used to it, it's, you feel empowered because you're giving yourself what you need. So if you were like me and you were yes, 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 saying yes to your boss when you were exhausted, knowing you had nothing to give, your bones are aching, you're not sleeping at night because you're in so much pain, and you're still saying yes like I was, something's gonna give. And if you don't know my story, I fell down the stairs and I was so overworked, burnt out, and I was off work then for 6 weeks with a bad sick. And I was told by psychics that my body just give up and I wouldn't listen, so they had to help me. So I do say this to a lot of my clients: if you don't listen to your body will pick a time for you to rest. And I know a few people around me at the moment that has also fell down the stairs, and also I've got friends that have burnt themselves at work because they're so tired and things like that. So accidents happen when we're tired, when we're not looking after our own needs. And also it's really hard to be happy when you're exhausted, because you're low in mood, you're low in energy, and you lose your spark. And that's one of the reasons why I started putting myself first, because I was such a bubbly, happy person that when I lose my spark, it's like I'm a ghost. I'm literally just drained. I have no colour. I have no buzz. And then what I have to do is put a mask on. And it's tiring putting a mask on, It's tiring pretending you're okay. And it's tiring just plodding on through the emotions and wishing life would get better. And I do hear this off a lot of women, it'll be all right, tomorrow's a new day. But like Einstein said, it's insanity doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It just doesn't happen. And we're all women, whether we're mums or not, we do like to take on a lot of things. We like to take on a lot of responsibilities, and, it makes us feel proud. But at the end of the day, it's not worth. Okay, people keep ringing me. I should have turned that off. So yeah, if you know that you're not, you're losing yourself a little bit, and you do feel like, maybe you went to yoga once a week and you're slowly stopping doing that because you're exhausted and you're losing interest in the things that you love, and you're not having any joy in your life, you're not going to be happy. But I get you, you're exhausted. So it's time to ask yourself, what can I do for me? What am I not doing? It's okay to eat healthy, drink water and go bed, but get a reasonable sleep. But if your body has literally been pushed so far that it's got nothing to give, it's then in repair state, and you have to be extra kinder to it and, give it more sleep, maybe have a nana nap, or, go and have that massage and release all that tension in your body. And it really is like in repair mode. It's like, you've broke your leg, you go to the doctors and you've got to rest your leg. This is what's happening to our body. What we would normally give it isn't sustaining it. To keep it at a good level, we need to give it extra care, extra love, extra attention. So hopefully, like me, you didn't fall down the stairs. Hopefully maybe you're just a little bit tired, a little bit snappy, and you're just looking for that extra little bit of energy. But honestly, it's all about stripping everything back and reconnecting with yourself and just asking yourself, what do I need today? You know, do you even think about yourself? I have so many clients that I ask them when the last time they smiled and belly laugh was, and they say, the last session I had with you. And I don't think they get it. I don't think they can just live having a session with me 1 hour a week and that's their happiness. Like, we have to live for our own purpose. We're here for a reason, and we're only ever going to be truly happy when we're fulfilling our purpose. And you don't have to get in a rocket and, you know, zoom off to the moon. It can just be about, you know, going for a walk in the park, you know, switching your phone off for 10 minutes while you're in the park. Listen, you can let's see how many things you can listen to. How many things can you see? You know, have a little bit of sensory. What can you touch? Just really reconnecting with nature and just getting out of this cycle of being in our phones, being on the telly, having to do 1,000,001 different things. So it can be something so simple. And I think a lot of my clients, when they work with me, they don't realise how simple it is. And it could just be a mindset shift, you know, that you're draining yourself thinking negatively all the time about your life. And it's like a little reset. Instead of waking up in the morning and saying to myself, I've got to do this today, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And if you feel that in your stomach, it's heavy. But if you say, I get to, like, it's bouncing in my body because it's positive language. So there's loads of things you can do to work with your energy. But I do find things like waking up in the morning and picking your phone up and getting drained by everybody else's energy. So for instance, you've got a message off your mum or, you know, a family member, can you do this for me today? Can you do that for me? And you've just looked at that phone as soon as you woke up and you'll think, oh God, I've got to do this now. This is what happens in the morning when we pick up our phone. We're absorbing everybody's negative energy. So I always recommend to all my clients not to pick up your phone. Just basically give yourself that first part of the morning and honour your own needs. And even if it's just 20 minutes, have a coffee, sit outside of your cab, breathe, and just, especially if you've got kids, because, you know, as soon as you wake up, if you've got your kids wake you up in the morning and then they just want you, mum, 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 that's how your energy goes for the rest of the day. So honouring your needs in the morning by not consuming emails, other people's energy on your phone, that is just such a big one. And I absolutely live and die by this. And if you saw my video the other day, you would see that I picked my phone up one morning. I don't know why. And I was in a terrible, foul mood all morning, right? I was snapping at my partner for no reason. I can't even believe how much it affected me. But I went to work and it took me all morning to get in a good state. And that's what's happens to my clients when they're snoozing their alarm, they're telling themselves, I don't need to get up, or they're on their phones. They're creating that state for the first time when they wake up in the morning with all that negativity and then allowing that to drain them. So it's very important to start a day the right way. Wake up, okay? We feel a little bit lower in mood, it's a scientific fact. But if you focus on 3 things you're positive for, as soon as you wake up, that's where your energy goes. And I admit, we have to try a little bit harder sometimes, but if you keep at these things, they do work, especially honouring your first part of the day, because as soon as you set your state for the day, that is what it's going to be. And if you set it with stress, you've then got to unwind that and it affects every part of your day. I've had clients that go to work without a coffee or not being able to get petrol in the car and stressed because they've snoozed their alarm so much. So when they start honouring their own needs, they have time for coffee, they don't feel stressed, they're not elevating that stress hormone, cortisol in their body, and they go to work calmly, their positive mood has been impacting everybody else. So please, if you're an exhausted woman, an exhausted mum, or whatever is going on and you feel a little bit tired, do not think you have to change the world. Just start looking at your daily planner and think, what do I do in my day that it might be draining my energy? And just change one thing. It takes one small habit to make a big difference. Honestly, you can do it. And when you do start doing these things for yourself, you just feel so empowered because you think, I know I deserve this. So if you need any help, you're feeling overwhelmed with any tasks that are going on in your mind, in your life, work, partner, kids, give me a shout and I'll do a little assessment with you through Messenger and see how I can help you. Or if it's just maybe that you want to start a little habit and you think that you won't be able to do it on your own. Just remember, talk to other women about it. We're all in the same boat. Not many women are putting themselves first. And that's why, as women, we need to empower each other to start doing that. Because we don't only matter. We are the ones that are holding up the whole house. We are the glue to this family. So the happier we are, the more energized we are, the happier everybody else is. I had the whole day off work yesterday and I went and picked my daughter up from work at 10:15 last night. And usually I'll be in bed tired then. And I was so happy that I could do that and that I gave myself a couple of days off. She thought I was a bit crazy when I picked her up, but I said, it's so nice to have this energy. So even though I adopt the You First method and I do it all day, every day, sometimes I still do something and I think, no, that's not serving me. I'm not looking after my energy. So I'm always reflecting on it. I'm always doing things that make my life better. And I'm always being my own biggest cheerleader. So just remember, in life, the only person you've really got is you. And you need to start thinking of you. And I'd love to help you all adopt a better mindset and to help you if you're feeling tired emotionally, physically, or any support you need, give me a shout. My DMs are always open. Take care and enjoy the rest of Monday.